What's awesome?
What's awesome, man? Well, I'm pumped at the process that we seem to be on to now, and have lots of people to filter through and see who's in need of a platform audit, and to scale to a an income for life marketing engine type approach. So
No, we have a pile of people who've raised their hand and said, "Yeah, I want to build one of these kind of businesses and business models." It's very
right.
exciting, right? And for those of you who are,
There is.
for those of you who are just tuning in or haven't tuned into any of our live streams recently, Joshua was one of my very first mentors when I first got started online in around 2003. And I went through his NPOD process and built my first $1 million business as a result of the blueprint that I drew up going through his program. 17 years later, Joshua and I have teamed up, and now we're training new NPOD students how to build these kind of, I don't know how to explain it, except they're these little, they are marketing engines, these little invisible machines that are online, that are selling your products or services, selling other people's products or services, that use all the best parts of email marketing, all the best parts of copywriting, all the best parts of direct response marketing in a system
Yep.
and a process that creates leverage for you, so you're not just stuck on the hamster wheel, running day in and day out, working your ass off, but never making any more money, right?
For sure.
Where most people get stuck. And so that's one of the differences between an entrepreneur and a business owner. And it's really important that you're aware of which you are right now and which you have a tendency to be, because you might be in a situation where you're swimming upstream because you're operating as a business owner when you're actually an entrepreneur, or you're operating as an entrepreneur when you're actually a business owner, and that's why things are so difficult for you. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today.
Where do you place like the freelancer in that spectrum? I almost think it's kind of a third category.
Well, I mean, you could call a freelancer a third category. I call a freelancer a one-man show business owner. I mean, it's a service business, and it happens to be a one person business, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, I guess I'm just thinking in terms of the transactional nature of a freelancer's business model, where they're project based and they're on to the next one. There's a finite time. There's a beginning and an end to their work with that particular project, whatever that happens to be. So I was just wondering, in your mind, if there's a difference, because in my mind, I think there's a difference between all three. But I was just wondering what your thoughts
say a
are.
freelancer, an entrepreneur, or business owner. I mean, technically speaking, though, right? I mean, all freelancers, entrepreneurs, and business owners, if they have a business, they're all business owners, right?
True.
So can they overlap? They can, actually. You can be a freelancer, entrepreneur, and a business owner all at the same time, right?
Right.
So
Right.
it is, it's not like it's not a black and white thing. There's definitely a spectrum, and there's definitely overlap in how this works, right?
Right. Right. Hi, Georgina.
Good morning. So, first of all, for those of you watching, Jean, good morning, Georgina. Do you consider yourself to be an entrepreneur, a business owner? Let's just throw freelancer in there as well. Let's see what people have to say, right? Entrepreneur, business owner, or freelancer. What do you consider yourself? That's probably
or what mode are you in at this moment? Maybe maybe it evolves and changes and shifts, but
so I absolutely fell in love with Dan Sullivan's adapted definition of what an entrepreneur is, right? A entrepreneur, says Leanne. That's all right. Fair enough. That's pretty honest. Thanks, Leanne. Well, let's help you move into the entrepreneur role sometime soon, huh?
Well, the fact that you can see that is great, because it means that you're probably ready to step into the next realm of actually putting things into action. So I think that is great.
That's right.
All of them. Yeah, I hear you. EJ, is it EJ or I'm gonna butcher.
EJF, I think that's a Scandinavian name, and I mean, I can't pronounce it. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Georgina, what are you transitioning from to? If you said right now you're in transition mode from you first said entrepreneur, and now but I'm assuming, are you transitioning into an entrepreneurial venture, or are you transitioning out of that into something else?
So let's talk about the difference, at least the way we think about things right now. And
Woohoo! Go girl.
that's right. So, entrepreneur. What is an entrepreneur? So, I don't have this written down in front of me, but my working definition in my head came from Strategic Coach, which came from Dan Sullivan, which is, I believe, a quote that was maybe adapted by Jean-Baptiste Sayes. Is that right? Which is, an entrepreneur is someone that brings resources from a lower level of productivity to a higher level of productivity. Basically, someone who turns trash into treasure, right? And loves that process of taking things that are operating down here, seeing a new and different way of configuring them, and then boom, all of a sudden you have something better, right? You put them together in a new way. That's how I look at it as an entrepreneur. What's your own working mental definition of an entrepreneur, Joshua?
I agree with you, and I love Dan Sullivan's definition as well. And then I have a little twist on that personally. It's just it's about arbitrage, right? It's about adding value to something. You take something that is like a resource at a certain level, and you combine it with other things. You do things, you invent things, you tweak things, and it becomes more out of the result of the arbitrage. It becomes more valuable, more utility oriented for people, for your clients. And I guess, I mean, like in theory, all business owners, all freelancers, all of that really could lay claim to that. I guess it's just a different kind of arbitrage for each one, perhaps.
Right. Okay, so how about a business owner? What's your working definition of a business owner?
Well, a business owner oftentimes is more of a manager, more of a fixer type role, where they have perhaps some systems, some managerial things, and that type of thing. Maybe it's a family business that they kind of grew up in and were groomed to, and then they're taking it to the next level, but they didn't start it from necessarily ground zero. Or perhaps it's like they're taking somebody else's business in a box blueprint, whatever that might be, and adapting it and taking it on and following, but they're not really interested in innovating necessarily, with nothing wrong with that. But they're perhaps just taking and combining what other business models that they've seen, and they do it in a unique way that creates value, and they find some people to serve based on that, as opposed to bringing something from the ground up from nothing and creating from that standpoint, innovating, so to speak.
Exactly. So that's a really good way of putting it. So for me, right, entrepreneurs, the innovation is the art, okay? The solving the problem is the art. That is the act of creation. It's the visionary aspect. It's the part that keeps you up all night because you can't stop thinking about your idea that we were struck with earlier in the day.
Last night, 3 a.m., eyes popped open.
It's like, and either you have the self-discipline to get yourself back to sleep, or you don't, and you're working on it for a while, and that's just the end of it, right? And so that's the art. For me, that's the magic. That's why I do it, right?
Yeah, I agree.
But the idea of like buying into a franchise and then just being responsible for running that makes me want to kill myself. So like
I understand.
I bought a franchise where it like gave me the basic pieces, and then I got to like go bananas with it and had all sorts of freedom, and then I could have somebody else run it after it's set up. I'm down with that, right? And that's the difference, I think, is that entrepreneurs, in many ways, are innovating for the sake of innovation because they can't stop themselves, whereas business owners are less interested in taking risks and more interested in stability, consistency, and reliability, to keep that business kind of operating at a even keel, ideally a slow, steady growth curve, right?
Yeah.
Um,
I think entrepreneurs often in starting and creating a business that has true value, true equity to it, as opposed to um, just having a lot of cash flow that's transactional in nature. And so I think that that's a distinction. I mean, and like I said, they all serve a purpose, and they can evolve and devolve from one to the other, and go back and forth. But I think oftentimes an entrepreneur is somebody that has to stake a flag in the ground and say, this is where I'm going. I don't know how I'm going to get there yet, and that's okay. And this is what I'm looking forward to building and creating. And, this is my vision. And, like, let's do this. And they realize that there's going to be all sorts of obstacles. And like you said, the art and the joy of that mode of not knowing, but making the clear cut visionary statement that, I'm going to, this is where I'm going, and this is what I stand for. And this is, where I've decided to pursue. And even though I've never been there before, I don't even know if it's possible. I'm okay with that.
that's right. Well, I think entrepreneurs like adventure, and business owners would rather stay home, right? It's like think about the Hobbit, right? Like, most hobbits are definitely business owners. They're not looking to go out on a great adventure and possibly get themselves completely killed. Like, that's not their number one priority. But entrepreneurs will totally do that as a general rule.
Yeah.
They're adrenaline. They tend to lean on the adrenaline junkie side of things. They tend to, and here's the thing: among entrepreneurs that are steeped in, grew up in, or actively involved in sales and marketing tend to, even as their way of operating as entrepreneurs, tend to be even more risk taking and more adventurous and more challenge oriented, right?
And the interesting thing is that I don't think an entrepreneur even views it as risky. I think that we have a different relationship with risk and how we define it, and what it means to us. Whereas a lot of people think of it as risking your life, like it's scary. It's almost like we're risking for life. That's what draws the juice through us,
That's right. That's right.
So EJF stands for Eric Johan
Briscoe. Yeah. Well, Eric. Yeah. Nice to meet you, man. Nice to see you. I think if you were a stalker, I'd probably already know about you and would have blocked you. I think we're good to go, man. Plus, you're bald and have a beard, which means you get a few extra gold stars as far as I'm concerned.
That's right.
Well, dude, you know what? I must say, I'll just put this up there for a second. I don't know if you're saying this about yourself or not, but what I can say is, I have several friends in the marketing world who've been homeless, who've been on food stamps, who've been on welfare, who've totally been financially at the bottom and said, fuck it. And they just decided that they were going to dig themselves out of it, and then found the people to connect up with and align themselves with and learn from in order to make sure it happens. So it's true.
I mean, not only that, I think you'll find that most entrepreneurs that have quote unquote made it and are mega successful, they still deal with the cycles, and made it and lost it multiple times. I'm one of those people that I've made and lost millions, not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, 5 times.
That's right.
It's just life sometimes. Showing up. So it's just where you are and what is. I think it's a state of mind. Like you have a confidence that once you have done something, you have a swag or a confidence that you can do it again, even though it might not be in the same thing. So,
That's right. That's right. So, for everybody watching and just tuning in right now, do you consider yourself to be an entrepreneur, a business owner, a freelancer, or a wantrepreneur? Please go ahead and type it into the comments. Do you consider yourself to be an entrepreneur, a business owner, a freelancer, or a wantrepreneur?
And Georgina said that, I asked her what she was, transitioning. She said that she was in a brick and mortar business and more of an entrepreneurial venture that she shifted into. Georgina is in the practice. Is that correct?
Yeah, the acupuncturist. Yep.
Yeah. Right. So like you're shifting it to the online environment and doing kind of virtual consults and that type of thing. That's awesome. That's phenomenal.
It's very cool. And so what I found is that I do well as an entrepreneur. I do well if I'm starting even within my existing business, if I'm starting new projects and tackling new challenges, I'm good. But if I'm responsible for the maintenance and the day-to-day of the business, it's much more of a struggle for me, right? Mm-hmm. The more disciplined I am about my schedule, the more skilled my assistant is at wrangling me, the more organized my schedule is. All of these things allow me to be better at maintenance of a business and doing the business owner things, but they're not fulfilling for me. But like most of the time, it's really hard for me to do the business ownery things and really hard for me to do the administrative things. And so I find that as long as I'm in visionary, creative, driver, startup mode, I do my best work, but I need a team of 3 to 5 people that are solid and know how to work together. Or if I don't have that base, I can't grow. Right? That's how I tend to operate as an entrepreneur. What about you, Joshua?
Similar. I mean, I operate best in that. I mean, my stupid human trick is creating from nothing. It's, boldly molding a bigger future, but an unprecedented bigger future. That's important to me. That it is something that I haven't done before, that it's something that's fulfilling, meaningful on an internal level to me, not just about making money anymore, where it certainly was in the beginning. Where I think that things get clouded for me and for all of us is, this was a distinction I got from Strategic Coach as well. And actually, I think it was Joe Polish that really made it clear for me. But it was, there's things that we're incompetent at. There's things that we're competent at. Actually going from the outside in, right? And then there's things that we're excellent at. And then there's things that are in what they call the unique ability and what I call my stupid human trick zone, right? And the challenge for me is staying out of the things that I'm excellent at as much as I possibly can, because I get stuck there, right? The difference between your stupid human trick or your unique ability, which is the bullseye in the center, right, is that nobody else can do it like you can do it. And the act of doing it fills you with more passion, more energy, so that you want to continue to do it. Whereas the next rung out are things that you're excellent at that, for the most part, people probably can't do as good as you can do because you're excellent at it, but it drains the ever-loving shit out of you to do it. And
That's so,
right. There's only so much gas in the tank at that point. And, we have a lot of the same things. I think that my gas reserves for some of that management stuff last longer than yours.
It does. Oh, for sure. You have more tolerance for some certain types of more detail-oriented stuff. I've noticed your brain is a little bit more OCD around that stuff and latches onto it, and I'm grateful for it, frankly. So, guys, we actually have a training starting up in just a few minutes, and so we do have to roll. However, whether you are an entrepreneur, whether you're a business owner, whether you're a freelancer, and possibly, I'm definitely not guaranteeing this, but possibly if you're a entrepreneur and haven't ever started a business before, if you're tired of being stuck and you want to build a business that will allow you to operate in your highest and best way, then I really would think seriously about if you would like to build an NPOD model. And you've probably heard us talking about this over the last several weeks to several months. But whatever happens to be the case, if you like what you're hearing and you would like to consider, hey, what about my mindset? What about the way that I'm operating? What about the way that my business is set up is keeping me capped, is keeping me plateaued? And probably, if you're anything like me, certain things are keeping you dissatisfied with your life and your business because you're not doing the things that light you up inside for at least half of your workday. Ideally more, right? Ideally, 80% of your workday is spent doing stuff that gives you energy, that gives you power, that gives you focus. And what I learned when I first learned the NPOD principles, the NPOD factors, when I first built my blueprint, I learned how to create something that would generate revenue and income that stood for me and that was within my values and morals and the way I wanted to present to the world, but it could do it without me. It was like creating a little internet clone of myself that could go out there and sell my stuff or sell the stuff that I was selling. By the way, I made my first $1 million selling affiliate products, selling other people's products in the self-improvement and the internet marketing training world, selling other people's products exclusively because I didn't have any of my own products and I didn't know how to write sales letters, right? By following
and you became an expert by, the halo effect, by the carryover of interviewing people that were really good at what they were doing.
It's amazing. And so the interview model really, that changed my life, right? So point is, if you like what you're hearing and you feel a little bit stuck in your business and you really want to pop through the next level, start getting a lot more fulfillment and hopefully making a lot more money in the process, then i.e., if you really want to build a large responsive email list of people who want to buy all your stuff, that's kind of like the more like street talk version of this, is just go ahead and type Firefly into the comments below, because I found this crazy firefly in my driveway the other day and it looks awesome. So
Leanne's definitely, you can tell from her comments that and her emojis that she's probably in the process right now of typing Firefly in.
That's right. So if you want to chat, here's what you can type Firefly into the comments, and we'll ask you and shoot me and or Joshua a private message depending on whose version of this video you're watching. Shoot us a little private message, and we'll ask you some questions and see if it makes sense to chat about getting you involved with the program or not. Right? We can chat a little bit about where you're at, which type of entrepreneur you are, what you're looking to accomplish, and hey, if we can help you, we'll help you. If we can't help you, we will do everything we can to point you in the right direction of someone who can. Because I've been in this game since 2003, Joshua since 1996, 97, right? So
I'm an old man.
And we know everybody in the game. And so, whatever you're looking for, it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. Everybody's different. Everybody needs something different. And if you want to talk to us, then, just go ahead and type Firefly, send us a private message, and we'll chat and possibly go on the phone, see what's what.
Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate it.
All right. Have a great day. Toodles.